Ivan Menezes, the CEO of Diageo PLC, the parent company of Guinness Nigeria PLC, expects company sales around the world in July to December to improve compared to the first 6 months of the year as bars and restaurants reopen following coronavirus lockdowns. This was disclosed in a press release from the company. The optimism could be challenged, seen as recent spikes in COVID-19 cases have led to targeted lockdowns in countries like the UK, France, and some other nations. So, joining me to discuss the Diageo CEO's comments and review the brewery sector in Nigeria is Temitayo Peters, breweries and fixed income analyst with ARM Securities. Good morning to you, Temitayo. Thanks for joining us. So, some have said, as I just mentioned, that his Diageo CEO's comments were a tad optimistic. How do you receive his comments with regards to sales improving?
First of all, good morning. Thank you for having me. I kind of share his optimism, I have to be honest with you. He's obviously still not as ideal a situation as it was last year. There's still some lockdown measures, some curfews in place, but pubs are still open, bars are still open, and it beats where we were in the second quarter, toward the end of the first quarter of this year. And people can go out. We're seeing activity there, and there will definitely be some improvements seen in the numbers in terms of volumes and price and overall revenue. So there will definitely be some improvement there. So we should see, on a quarter-on-quarter basis, we should see higher revenue over Q3 compared to Q2. But on a year-on-year basis, looking at Q3 last year, it probably still won't be a brilliant picture, but baby steps, I guess.
All right, fine. Baby steps. So just to reiterate, if we look at like the recent, I think you've already mentioned the recent restrictions on hours of operation for pubs and restaurants in the UK and France. Those are still headwinds, right, for sales?
Oh yes, for sure. And like I said, it'll be a while before we're back to, just a free for all where you can go whenever you want and hang out with as many people as you want in as many closed places as you want. There'll still be some restrictions in place, and that will continue presenting challenges for quantity, for overall volumes. And brewery sectors, they're going to have to be creative in a way to reach more people to get around these lockdown rules. I know during lockdown they focused on like a lot of e-channels, so they might still see some of that to help support their regular pubs and bars.
Okay, great. So what about bringing it home here in Nigeria? How do you see sales for breweries progressing?
Obviously, we're still faced with similar challenges in terms of lockdown and restrictions. We still have a curfew till 12, and I know people aren't still fully. People are still cautious. People still won't go out. I know, even though we still have this curfew and the cases seems to be reducing here as opposed to over in like Europe and in the US, but people are still being pretty cautious. So we should still see a similar trend here in terms of maybe a quarter-on-quarter improvement, but overall on a year-on-year basis, still a decline. And similar kind of picture, maybe better numbers because our cases don't seem to be rising. We don't seem to be going back into a lockdown here.
All right, so we've got 60th Independence Day celebration coming up for Nigeria. Rise TV, for instance, has a special commemoration coming up. There should be, of course, other celebrations, perhaps maybe muted around the country. Does that in any way factor into sales, or is one day just too small to even have to even be on the radar?
Every little helps. This one day might be too small because, like you said, it's still a curfew and people are still cautious. So I don't think like you said it perfectly, celebration will still be muted. I know 60 years is something you'd normally go out big for, but I see things being muted. I don't expect kind of celebrations you saw even last year or in previous years. And I doubt it will have any boost in overall numbers for the start of Q4.
All right, so moving forward with the Ember months now, what about the Christmas period? How does the Christmas period play out in Nigeria for brewery sales?
It's too early to tell. It depends largely on where we are in terms of the restrictions and where the curfew and how cases are rising, and whether there's a lot of people who live abroad come home for Christmas, and that creates the whole party atmosphere here in Lagos especially. And so it depends on whether people are feeling confident enough to fly back home, or whether they still have to face quarantine measures if they fly here and they go back. Because if you come here, you have to stay in quarantine back abroad for 2 weeks, and there's really no point. So all that would play into how strong the celebrations will be over Christmas, and whether people are seeing a lot of vaccines progress on that side. So it depends. We have to see how that progresses. So if there's something positive there, if by that time there's a vaccine that seems to be working, unlikely, but then that could play a huge role in how celebrations will be around that time. But like I said, it's just still too early to say for sure.
Okay, thank you. So what are the headwinds for Nigeria, brewery sector for Nigeria before COVID-19, the excise duties and so on? Are those headwinds still there?
Oh yes, they are. I think the COVID situation has kind of made us forget that coming into the year, this sector was already facing some significant challenges. So obviously there's been rise in excise duties the last few years. I think about 3 increases, and then they've not been able to pass on some of these higher prices to consumers. And at the start of this year, we saw an increase in VAT, which some breweries did pass on in form of higher prices, and then that bit their overall sales. They saw that sales near the end of Q1 declined on the back of those price increases. And as consumer wallets start to tighten, because of the fall in disposable income, it's been a tough year for everyone. We expect, even if lockdown measures are reduced and things get back to some sort of normality, that we still won't see the kind of sales we're seeing maybe last year because of, like I said, higher prices and tighter consumer wallets. So it's still a worrying time for the sector.
Thank you for that. So based on that, I think we're only about a minute to go, a minute or two. But do you have any picks in the sector as far as stocks are concerned?
I personally like Guinness. They have a nice wide range portfolio. They're focusing a lot now currently on their spirits and ready to drinks. That's been driving growth for a while for them now. So as they focus on that, I think the margins there are better than in beer. So I think that could help them in the medium to short term, while we do see what happens in the beer space, whether people start to adjust to higher prices and margins start to improve. So Guinness will be my pick for now.
All right, Temitayo Peters, fixed income and breweries analyst at ARM Securities. Thank you so much for taking us through the sector. We appreciate your time, sir.